start that. Okay, so this is their first meeting for this book. So should we just read off her questions and just talk about it? Yeah?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So that would work out.
Let's see. So, what was your favorite quote or passage from the chapters? Did you find anything interesting?
So I had two. So my first one was page 30. I'm gonna write it down too. So the first one was on page 30. Very last line.
Oh.
So that one read, and he did. He just never remembered any of it. So that was like, when the husband, I forgot his name already.
Yeah, me too. I think it was like EP or something. Oh, Eugene. Right.
Eugene. Yeah. So when Eugene like passed away, and then after like all his struggles and whatnot, and then how much he had contributed to the world of science, yet he didn't know it. I think that happens a lot. Seems like that happens a lot, just especially with activists. Like they're activating, they're doing work and doing social work and stuff for like a cause that they believe in. However, when they're here on Earth, like they get put through so much stuff, and like they don't and they aren't they aren't treated fairly. And then once they do like pass away and they aren't here and whatnot, then people like realize, and just society realizes how much of an asset they were.
Right, of course.
So like that's what why I like that line. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a really nice one. I like that. Cool. I don't think I had a particular line or anything, but like my favorite like area, I guess, of this part of the book was when like he was walking around the neighborhood and he started doing it alone and he couldn't like really remember, or like when he was hungry he'd go to like a specific part of the house even though he didn't know any of the rooms, or like when he went to the bathroom he didn't know where it was, he just did it. I thought that was really interesting how he just like kind of just got up and did it even though he didn't know what he was doing. So that was one of my favorite parts. Yeah. Well, so...
I feel like that definitely was kind of like a cliffhanger for me too. It was like, because then I was like, is he gonna get lost and then that's gonna be the end for him and whatnot? Or like, I like that one. I agree too.
That one was nice.
And then there was this other one too. It's just corporate America. There was this that one's on page 33. My next one. And then that one read, he created a craving, and that craving, it turns out, is what makes cues and rewards work. The craving is what powers the habit loop. I just like that. Just reminded me a lot of corporate America, and then we've been talking a lot of like how they do product placements and all of that with without like the consumer actually noticing, and then them just having like an instinct to like maybe buy it or whatnot, or prefer that product over the other.
Right.
So like that reminded me of that. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's not bad. Cool. So, what new things did you learn from these chapters, and what was most memorable?
For me, it was like the repetition part. How like once you like, because I always thought that kind of like practice makes perfect, and like after reading this, it makes a lot of sense. Yes, you're doing it consistently, so you're getting better and better at it. And then after a while, you aren't using any like brain activity. So like I learned, I think that was very interesting, because of the fact like that after a while you don't necessarily need to be focusing on it. Yeah, like for instance, making your bed. I'm not good at making my bed, so like whenever I do want to challenge myself, like I'll start making it. So after I start making it, and then like I'm still thinking about it, and then like if you aren't like if you are used to it, so you can continue to do it. It's just like what I'm trying to say is that that routine you don't need most like any brain.
Right, right. It just becomes like
So like
muscle memory, right?
right, but like yes, but then like society teaches us to like continue to do it, perfect it, perfect it, perfect
Mm-hmm.
it. But when in reality, you don't need to be doing that.
No, not at all.
After you perfected it.
Cool.
So yeah.
So I think my favorite, or my,
So
what was it? What did I ask him? What was the? Oh, something new that we learned. I think my thing that I learned was just like the mouse trap things they were talking about in like the very first chapter. It was just like they poisoned the rats and they electrocuted them, and they like even after the click they were like hesitant, but they still went for it and they still got sick. Like it was just like constant, like they didn't really learn, or at least I don't think they did learn to like stop themselves. Maybe they hesitated, but in the end they still went for it. So I thought that was pretty interesting and stuff.
Yeah, I agree too, because then they're still being the rats are still feeling a lot of pain and whatnot. So like why they were hesitant.
Right, right.
So,
Cool. So let's see. What do you think about the author's research? Was it clear where the author got his or her information? Did the author rely on credible sources? I think they introduced a lot of like the Hopkins conception of the, I don't know how to say that, the habit loop. They like introduced a lot of different types of research, like actual research. So I thought that was really cool. They referenced the real world. And before Eugene, wait, that was his name, right?
right.
They had a different guy they were talking about that was his
Yes.
brain was super like popular to look at, and then before that it was the lady who quit smoking. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah, and then there was also kind of like those I forgot his name, that one person who like was a really great marketer. Then he just introduced like new issues to like the public. For instance, when um, that the toothpaste, where people like didn't notice that they had film on their teeth until he like was like, hey, like try this out and you'll notice it. And then like he created kind of those issues
Right.
that were like already there. So like that's pretty kind of like social experiments as well, which were great.
All right. Cool. Do the issues discussed in the chapters affect your life? How so? Do they affect you directly or indirectly? Do they affect your day-to-day life or now in the future? I think I like think about it a bit more, but they haven't really affected me because they were just in the first part of the book.
Yeah, like it's cool. Like I was like, I should do this and whatnot, but I just like it's in my head.
Yeah.
Just hasn't came out pretty much.
Right.
So like that's where I'm at. So it hasn't affected me at all. Either. Maybe further down as I get into the book, it'll inspire me. Right. Because like the reason I chose this book is like I don't like I'm not like so much disciplined when it comes to just certain stuff. Like I like meeting deadlines and whatnot, but like I wanted to create like better habits for myself.
Right.
So like that's one of the reasons why I chose this book. It's like inspire me and just learn a little bit more about habit making.
Right. Right. True.
So, yeah, but no, it's not effective.
No, same. No, no. Cool. Did reading the chapters evoke any feelings? What kind of feelings? Why those feelings? I guess I was just kind of sad for like Eugene for losing his memory, you know, like he stayed like that for what, 15 more years. So that was kind of sad. That's about it.
Yeah, like that's where they put the most emotion to this in this section. That one story, because the other one about the marketer like is like okay. Like,
exactly.
So yeah, no.
Cool. What are the short-term and long-term consequences to the issues raised in the book? Are these consequences negative, frightening, or positive, affirming? How so? I think there are like it's like showing negative things sometimes. Like we all do negative things, like the lady who smoked a lot, one day she just got up and didn't do it, or something about her brain pattern. I can't quite remember that part. But I think honestly this has had like a positive effect so far. Just because learning about your habits and being aware is a good thing. But that's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I think there is both positive and negatives because there's like, you know, you can create a negative habit, you can create a positive habit as well. So there's both. I think, well, long term is just like creating those habits, getting into those habits. Could be a long term potential, not so much of a consequence.
Right.
The way you're looking at that habit. I'm not sure about short term though.
Yeah, I don't really know about short term either. We can come back to that the next time we meet or something, because I think we're gonna go through the same questions over, right? Each meeting, yeah. Cool. So, what solutions? Yeah. What solutions does the author propose? Are the proposed solutions sensible and practical? Do you agree or disagree with the solutions? What do you think?
I think that the author's solutions that he proposes repetition. For instance, Eugene kept on doing that walk over and over again, and then that one day he went out by himself, and just because of that repetition and because of those objects being where they were placed, created him to like successfully complete that walk. So that was one of the solutions. Like he also showed that model of the reward cue. Let's see. Cue, routine, and then reward. That was like the solution to creating new habits.
Cool. Let's see. What have you learned from reading these chapters? Did the reading broaden your perspective about a difficult issue, whether personal or societal? Honestly, I don't really have much to say about this yet. So we just started reading.
I know, yeah, like I'm in the same,
so,
I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll talk about more stuff next time.
I just like learned.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. So there you go.
Yeah. Cool.
I wasn't gonna say much. Why, like.
No.
Don't have nothing to add.
Okay, cool. Should we? No. So I think that wraps up our first meeting then.
The first part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then so we have 3 more parts.
Yes.
3. Okay, and then.
Cool. And then we can. Do you want to do like a week or 2 later to meet up for the next one?
That would work.
Okay. Cool.
Have you started part 2?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No. We can do like 2 weeks. We have like so much time.
Yeah. So no need to rush. You said April 15th is when everything is due, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then I'll write my stuff on. Do we need to have like these things written down, like what we just discussed? Or is it just the video?
So I think in the first 3 we're just supposed to talk, and then it says the 4th and final meetings to put your final report together, answer the following questions. So I think these things we just talked about, we're just supposed to talk about. Then under the bolded part in this Google Doc, we're actually supposed to like write about that stuff.
Okay.
As a report, yeah. So at least that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Okay, so let's definitely keep in contact.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So this is our second meeting. Cool. So should we just start off with her questions again? Okay, cool. Let's see. So, yep, I got them right here. I have them right here. I can read them off if you don't want to look them up. I got them right here. So, what was your favorite quote or passage from the chapters?
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, I think my favorite passage was the Starbucks one. Just because environment where all the odds were like going against him, and like everything was pretty much like the cards were not like on his side.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I just really liked that, and I like admired like the fact that he was able to make something out of himself. So I like that.
That was really cool. I did like that one too. It was kind of sad, like his backstory and stuff. Let's see. I think my favorite one was in the Target chapter. Wait, sorry, I should have underlined it. I can't find it. Oh, okay. It says listeners are happy to sit through a song they might say they dislike as long as it seems like something they've heard before. Pregnant women are happy to use coupons they receive in the mail unless those coupons make it obvious the Target is spying into their wombs, which make it unfamiliar and kind of creepy. And I thought that was kind of funny because that like I never realized Target was so creepy. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Cool. So that was my favorite one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely odd. I actually went to like a career fair thing and they saw the book in the background of my Zoom call and she's just like, wait till you get to the Target chapter. I'm like, oh wow. Can't wait for that chapter.
Yeah, I agree with you. That one was super. It was weird because it's like they like targeted something like so unusual such as pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody really did that, and like I think didn't we read the article on? Was it that we read an article for one of the mini assignments? The one with the father got mad.
I thought that was inside the book. I know she mentioned it sometime in class recently. I don't know if I did that mini assignment. I know I skipped like one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the father got mad at the Target for doing that, and then he came back and apologized because he was in the wrong because Target was just doing marketing stuff.
Yeah. I'd be still angry if I was the dad. Like, what the hell? That's just so weird, you know? Okay, let's see. The next question. What new things did you learn from these chapters? What was that? Can you hear me? Okay.
Nothing.
Okay, cool. So the next question is, okay, what new things did you learn from these chapters? What was most memorable? I think the chapter about the train, you know, the one where like people died and there was a fire in like the train and stuff. Like I think it was in London or England or whatever, in the UK somewhere. Yeah, so that one was the most memorable to me other than the Target one, just because it was so messed up. Like the different departments just didn't connect or anything, and nobody wanted to step on each other's toes, which was just so weird. Well, I guess it's a different culture over there. Yeah. Let's see. What questions do you still have after reading these chapters?
Yeah, I feel like that's why the ordinary.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I feel like there's a lag. I can't really tell. Is there a lag?
Cutting in and out.
Okay, yeah, same. Mine's cutting in and out. Maybe I have too many things on my Wi-Fi.
The lag and you cut off. Like even when I'm like in class, or like I've actually looked back on recordings from the professors, and the same lag is there. So I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll wait like a second before I like start talking again so like the lag can pass. Okay, cool. So, what was your most memorable thing from these chapters?
From like these chapters, and then the chapters that we read like from the previous meeting, I think like something like that has like really ingrained in me is probably like repetition and kind of like jotting down stuff in order to fix a habit. For instance, when were doing those experiments with like health, like that section, like the healthy like eating habits and whatnot.
Yeah.
The way they overcame that was like through like writing down what they ate and all of that. So like kind of like just putting it out there, in the world.
Right. Totally. I totally got that too. Yeah. Cool. So the next question. What do you think about the author's research? Was it clear whether the author got his or her information Did the author rely on credible sources? I think so, because like everything's like fact checked. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
And it's like they pick from a variety. Oh, you're good. So like I think so as well. And then like they pick from like a variation of pool from like those participants. And it wasn't all like within the same like because you have target, you have like that health, and then you have like train.
Yeah. Totally. I like how they switch back and forth so they don't like stick to one like story too long. It just kind of comes back to it at like the right time, which is nice. Cool.
Yeah, I like this how like they switched up with the chapters, and then kept that same story. Whereas like the other section that we read, they like told one story, then moved on to the next, came back to the other one, and then moved on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a lot of going back and forth. So I enjoyed this one more because it was like little stories.
Yeah, they were more entertaining to read, I guess, even though they were kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. Cool. So the next questions: did reading the chapters invoke any feelings? What kind of feelings? Why those feelings? I think the most I felt was during the train chapter when like all those people died, and I was just like, and like and the hospital one where like the guy got his like head like cut into on the wrong side and he died, and there was just so much like what am I trying to say, like casualties, I guess, in a hospital. Yeah, so that one was, I don't know, I just felt like really worried about that.
Right, because like I mean, like when you're in a hospital, you like expect them to know what they're doing and like not because those are like really sensitive procedures in the train that they're also doing. So like you wouldn't really expect that. So like that's why it was memorable. I agree with you as well. Also the Target one because it was like so like out of the ordinary, something so random but like so important.
100%. And that song, I remember hearing it all the time, but I didn't think everybody hated it so much in the beginning, you know, the Hey Ya song by Outkast. Yeah, it was this, yeah, this,
I personally like that song.
yeah, I liked it too, so it was kind of weird thinking like everybody really hated it at first, but then again, like, I guess that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's different like back.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. So the next question: what are the short-term and long-term consequences to the issues raised in the book? Are these consequences negative, frightening, or positive, affirming, and how so?
I think it could be like negative, like the hospital in Japan, like that's very negative.
Yeah.
And definitely, I mean, they're long term just because they need to fix those in order for like the future events for that not to occur.
Right, exactly. I hope like that train situation has gotten better since I know the hospital got better, but I don't know. That was still kind of worrisome. I think it's wrong how Target like does that and like picks out their stuff. That's why I don't use my red card. I always thought something was fishy about that. Cool. So the next question: what solutions does the author propose? Are the proposed solutions sensible and practical? Do you agree or disagree with the solutions? So the only solutions I can really think of were the hospital ones and the train ones. Because, like, that meeting the nurses have in the beginning of, like, a surgery, that definitely put a lot of, like, the bad things that were happening to, like, a lower, like, what am I trying to say? Like, it didn't happen as much once, like, they were, like, talking about it, you know, and when the doctors weren't, like, walking out. And then I guess the train, if they were, like, communicating more, and I'm sure they are now. Yeah.
I agree with you too.
Oh, let's see. So, do you have anything else to add on to that, or do you want me to go to the next one?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What solutions does the author propose? Are the proposed solutions sensible and practical? Do you agree or disagree with the solutions?
Yeah, just off of what you were saying about the hospital and the train, I agree with them because it's like it's improving their mistakes and they're learning from it, so it won't happen in the future. So I think I agree.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. And then the next question, the last one. What have you learned from reading these chapters? Did the reading broaden your perspective about a difficult issue, whether personal or societal? I guess I learned that people don't like what's not familiar to them, and they don't like being spied on, and mistakes happen no matter what. Pretty much. I guess that's what I can get out of these few chapters we read. Do you want me to read the question again? Did you hear me?
No, yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
What I like the story about the Starbucks, just how they were able to go back and be able to fix kind of like like their employees' behavior towards those customers. Just because like from places where I've worked and stuff, like I had to like learn that myself or like some people have to learn it the hard way. So then them taking that like initiative was like made me like value them even more.
Right, right. Okay, cool. Let me. Okay, so this is our third meeting for the third part of our book. And let's see. So, starting with the first question, what was your favorite quote or passage from the chapters?
I didn't have like a favorite, something that stood out. Something that did stand out for me was it was those three stages of when it comes to like for a successful movement. When they're talking about like the Rosa Parks, how she sparked it, and then what steps needed to happen in order for that movement to be moved by on its own and not by like someone like King,
Right.
So that was like an interesting thing, I thought.
I also like that part. I think I folded a tab. This pass or quote I liked was, movements don't emerge because everyone suddenly decides to face the same direction at once. They rely on social patterns that begin as the habits of friendship grow through the habits of communities and are sustained by new habits and change participants' sense of self. So I feel like that's pretty much what you summed up, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like I like that part too.
Yeah, that was a good part for sure. Okay. What new things did you learn from these chapters? What was memorable?
I think, the backstory to how the movement and how Rosa Parks sparked that whole movement. Like I knew of the movement, but I like wasn't aware of like those triggering points.
Yeah.
That made it successful movement. That was one thing. Also, the sleepwalking one.
Oh yeah,
where the guy
that was sad.
wife.
That was so sad.
I didn't think that. Yeah. I didn't think like sleepwalking would be like a habit. I thought it was like something like that's first nature.
Yeah, something like uncontrollable or something like that. Yeah. So
Right.
I totally agree about the Rosa Parks one. I remember hearing that like Rosa Parks wasn't the first like black woman to sit in the front. There was also like some girl that they mentioned who was pregnant and was too young and nobody really respected her. Like she did it and nobody really rallied behind her. So I guess ties are very strong when you want to start a movement. And then about the sleepwalking one, I don't know. I guess I felt more bad for him than the lady who was gambling because I don't know. There was she could have put her name on that list like the book suggested that to like blacklist herself from casinos, cuz I know like I've seen it. I work in a bar, so like I see people just putting money nonstop. It's like they can't control themselves, and I'm just like, gosh, this is rough. Like, yeah. Well, let's see. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. I think it just froze for a second.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, that's what the casinos are in it for. Like, that's why they do all of those. If they didn't do that, they wouldn't be, like, you know, making their money
Right.
and having, like, all these people come back. So, like, I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, when it came to, like, the fact that she was, like, you know, she went to court and everything for it, but the other guy, like, got, like, a pass pretty much.
Yeah.
For, like, I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't know how to
Because it's,
either.
and then the other girl, like, it relates to money, you know.
Yeah, true. I guess I don't know. I guess he did know about his sleep patterns, but you never really know to what extent, you know? Like who knew he was gonna like strangle his wife, you know? Because he thought she was in danger. I guess it's like a second nature type of thing, you know? Cool. So, oh shoot. So the next question. What questions do you still have after reading these chapters? I kind of want to know how long that guy spent in jail or prison or whatever for like murdering his wife. Kind of want to know that part, but it probably doesn't say in the book.
Or like, if he ever overcame that. Did he overcome? I'm not sure. Or like, yeah, I didn't have much questions. So,
Cool.
yeah, I don't think I have questions.
Oh yeah, totally. What do you think about the author's research? Was it clear where the author got his or her information? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I feel like he followed the lady who had a gambling problem around for a while just because, like, he said he would go with her or something. It seemed like he would go with her to these casinos and she would show how much these people would entice her and, like, get her to gamble more, you know?
Right, I think he did a good job too, because it's like he directly talked to her and the experience very detailed.
Yes, 100%. Cool.
Right, and also the other guy and going to trial in court.
Yeah. So. Oh, that was intense. Cool. Do the issues discussed in the chapters affect your life? How so? Do they affect you directly or indirectly? Do they affect your day-to-day life now or in the future? I don't think it like affects me directly. I mean, I think about it in the back of my head like, "Oh, this is a habit or you could change this a certain way." Like I think it's brought things to light. I'm more aware of it now than I was before, but that's about it.
Yeah, just like, yeah, I agree with you. Just like knowing that some things are like habits and stuff, and even though there are habits and you are doing those habits, it may or may not be kind of I don't know, like it's essentially your responsibility, but it's not, because it's like a habit. It's like it has become first nature. You trained yourself for that to happen and be first nature.
Yes.
It is, yeah, it does not directly affect me in any sense, kind of like the gambling, or the sleep paralysis and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, cool. Did reading the chapters evoke any feelings? What kind of feelings? Why those feelings? I think the most emotional I felt was when the guy strangled his wife. I felt for him. I felt a lot of empathy for him compared to the lady with the gambling problem. And the author totally like addresses that fact too. Like, is it wrong to let this guy who killed somebody go and make this lady pay for her debt or her actions? I think to a certain extent, yeah. But
right,
yeah.
I also agree too, because like as the lady started earning more money, she like had less boundaries. Like she like minimized them, and then so like I think that in a way is a cute, because when she first started, she like said she knew what could happen, the outcomes of what could happen, and those outcomes did happen. But like when she first started, she was really strict on this amount of money, this amount of time. As time went on, like that was like less and less.
Yeah. And didn't she get like a clean slate at one point when her parents died? Like all her debt was gone and then she restarted it all. Like I was just like, what are you doing?
Like yeah, like it happened to you like once.
Yeah.
Like, you should.
Yeah, I feel like like what, I don't know. I guess that's why I didn't quite sympathize as much. But then again, like, I don't know what her home situation was like. I totally understood that. Or like, she didn't have as much like fulfillment as she used to with like her husband working, her kids gone. I guess that's like a housewife situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like didn't understand how she made that connection with like gambling and getting like attention, you know?
Yeah.
You know how like that like played a role in her life, getting
Yeah.
attention when it came to gambling.
Totally. Cool. Next question. What are the short-term and long-term consequences to the issues raised in the books? Are these consequences negative, frightening, or positive, affirming? How so? I think the guy who killed his wife, that's a very long-term consequence that he's always gonna have to live forever with. Like, even though they stated that he wasn't intentionally killing her, like he had a happy marriage, but he did have a past of the sleepwalking. Like, he's gonna have to live with that forever, like the guilt of it. And I guess the lady with the gambling problem is also gonna have to live with it forever.
Yeah, and I feel like there's also like that fear that because you did it once, you know, like you like the sleepwalking, like you could do it again. There's still that slim possibility, you know, and like that could invoke like fear
Yeah.
in him. But like in the like yeah, the lady she ruined pretty much like, you know, her like standing with like the family and stuff.
Yeah.
And even though like how you said she got like the pass, but she didn't like, you know, like take advantage of it.
Yeah. I guess the only like positive affirming long-term consequence was the Rosa Parks thing, because it did start a whole movement that kept going even though people were like starting to lose faith. Like, I'm glad it kept moving, you know, just because I wonder what society would be like now. I mean, it's not that it's good right now, you know, with all the hate and stuff. Cool. What solutions does the author propose? Are the proposed solutions sensible and practical? Do you agree or disagree with the solutions? I feel like. Oh wait, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know, like I feel like with this chapter, he gave us like a point of view of the little steps that happen in order for these like the outcomes to happen. Not It wasn't so much solutions. It was just giving us like a first person point of view of like people who were victims of habits.
Right.
So I don't think there were like I don't know about solutions.
Yeah, same. That's how I felt. I'm like, I don't think I read any solutions, just that he stated the habits of how things became to be with like the lady who gambled, the Rosa Parks, the guy who sleepwalked or something, you know? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What have you learned from reading these chapters? Did the reading broaden your perspective about a difficult issue, whether personal or societal? The fourth and that's like the last one. But yeah, so that's the last question.
I think that the most interesting passage was probably the Rosa Parks one. I feel like that one had like held more knowledge that I wasn't aware of. So that one was I preferred that one over the other ones because while I wasn't like aware like, you know, sleepwalking, that becoming a habit, I was aware of kind of like, you know, what gambling can lead to. And you know, like you might go gamble one time and you like hit a jackpot, then you go back and like that's how it starts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. I did like reading about the Rosa Parks thing because I didn't realize that people were like losing faith. But then like another big event happened, like with the bombing and like all these things that drove people forward to keep going. Like, I think that was the most thing I've learned. Also the habits thing, you know, like a routine, like the Target one was pretty interesting, like stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah, cool. So that concludes our third meeting. Okay, this is our fourth and final meeting of this book, The Power of Habit. So, the first question: what was the author's goal in writing the book? What ideas was he trying to get across? I think his how habits work, and it's not like you're not able to break them. You are, but it's really hard. And like some habits are really ingrained deeply into your like head. Like the
Right.
sleepwalking thing, like I wouldn't really think that's a habit. I think that's more of a, I don't know, mental thing, but I don't really know where sleepwalking comes from your like mind, you know? Yeah. What about you?
I think that the goal, right, like how you said, like I have it written down here, was like to let society know that we have the power to change
Mm-hmm.
and make new habits with the proper tools and direction. This is very much possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we often think that of the myth that because something has been ingrained in us and
Mm-hmm.
that we can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
However, in this reading, we're like taught otherwise. And then this is backed by society. I mean, science and psychology.
Right.
Um,
That's a great thought. I love that. Okay. So the next question: what consequences does the author's ideas have? Consider personal, societal, national, global, political, economic, and/or scientific implications of the ideas that were discussed. I think, well, the two that stood out to me was the gambler, and then of course the sleepwalking one, because I feel like those had the biggest one other than the Rosa Parks one, obviously. Like the Target one, I don't know if anything ever happened to him. Like if people are, I don't think so. You know what? That is one thing that stood out to me. Like every time something asks me to log into somewhere, I'm like, they're probably just trying to steal my information at this point. Like trying to send me weird coupons that are exactly what I want. Um, but the idea is, I don't know, like the sleepwalking one and the gambling one, I think that was like on a very personal and a national level because like what is I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm like I have it in my mind but I don't know. You go and I'll think my
so
thoughts.
yeah, so I think that this book, has consequences for like individuals, it has consequences for like society and or at an organizational level.
Mhm.
Idea, like ideas such as like the movements with the church and
Mhm.
then with the Rosa Parks one, can be very beneficial to society and have like positive impacts
Right.
as well as negative. Also, what else? I have it written down here. Um, I think what did stood out to me was like just movement in general, the church and the Rosa Park ones. In order for the movement to move, it needs to be have these three stages of the social habits of movements.
Mhm.
At an individual level, repetition, cue, and reward are necessary for those like habits to occur
Mhm.
or to get rid of them. Um, for instance, when we were talking about the that toothpaste,
Yes.
at the beginning of the chapter, um, it was like you felt the film on your teeth, and then you brush your teeth, and then like you felt a tingling sensation.
Mhm.
That made you think that your teeth were clean.
Mhm.
Tingling sensations, like that was like the cue. The word was
Right.
white, healthy teeth.
Right. Totally. I never even thought about that. I didn't realize that like the tingling part they added in there is like a scientific thing. That's crazy. Cool, yeah. So definitely, I feel like a lot of these are on like a national level, like because the toothpaste one, like he influenced many Americans to start brushing their teeth. Rosa Parks was like a national level. The gambling one probably not, maybe more like a societal thing, like an interpersonal societal type of thing where it affected more of our personal people. But yeah. Oh, and I think like the part where they talked about strong ties and weak ties, is that what they called it or he called it in the book? I thought that was really cool because that is how you like get jobs and network is with your weaker ties, like people you know who know other people. So that was pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah. Cool. So the next question: how controversial are the issues raised in the book? Which side are you aligned on, and why? So I'm definitely on the Rosa Parks side, of course. You can't be against that. Like, um, the last two, like we were talking about, the sleepwalking one. I don't know. I felt for the guy. Like, he didn't seem like he wanted to kill his wife at all, but like I don't know. You can't really like he's not like a serial killer who like was mutilating animals when they were younger or something, you know? Like he had no signs of it and it just happened and he had some bad luck with his like mind and stuff. So I feel like that was controversial how he paired it. Like why should he be let off free but the lady with the gambling had to pay for her debt? Like I can totally see
Right.
why that was controversial.
Yeah, I agree with you too. Like how you made that connection between like two very distinct stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the outcome was more, one who the guy, I mean, the girl who didn't like, do really anything to society besides like that corporation
Mm-hmm.
was like worse off than the other guy who like harmed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the same time, like how you said, it was like he didn't like one day plan it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't write down, oh, I'm gonna do this. It just like so happened to be, and like she was there at the wrong time,
Right.
which
So
sucks.
it does.
Yeah, and then another issue was probably the Target one, but that was more at an like I feel like societal level.
Yes.
Because it's like you're like pretty much preying on like these women.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I was more so on the side of the woman because it's like I feel like that's some sort of invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally. I think like when that dad went to Target and was just like, "Why are you sending my daughter like pregnancy magazines or coupons or something?" I feel like he should have been more enraged. Like, how do you know this? Like what? Like, you know?
well, yeah, that's true, but it's like they didn't even know. The woman
True.
didn't even know herself, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's difficult. Yeah,
Fair.
I feel like if he were more passionate about it, there would have been a different outcome when it came to like policy and whatnot.
Right.
So.
Cool. Let's see. How does the book relate to consumer behavior? In what ways do the ideas help us better understand or influence, directly or indirectly, people's choices, actions, preferences, happiness, well being, attitudes, beliefs, needs, values, and goals? I think this book covered like pretty much everything I can think of, like from smoking to like things that happen in a hospital that like shouldn't happen to that underground train system in England to Rosa Parks to got the sleepwalking case to the gambling case. Like I feel like it covered almost everything to like why people do what they do and why things keep connecting and stuff, you know, and like why they keep forming habits, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you as well. I think that this book relates to consumer behavior because it's like sometimes these corporations will create needs
Mm-hmm.
for the consumer, and then for instance, Amazon, like they pretty much created like a need, a need to like have this within 2 days,
Yeah.
or it being like so easy to order something and on one site and not having to jump back and forth
Mm-hmm.
between all of these vendors. Also, they create needs in the way like the toothpaste one. That was like they created that need because it's like before that society was like they weren't unaware of that.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So I felt like in creating needs is how this book related to consumer behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also within like the casino with gambling, they create kind of like this craving, and it's kind of like I feel like it's tug of war when it comes to like casinos because it's like you put in so much and you get like so much of that portion that you like maybe I'll get more next time and then go back, but in reality you're just losing.
Yeah.
You're to like that big corporation.
Totally.
Like,
I guess that's why there's the saying the house always wins, you know, in casinos because everything's always rigged against you. Even like bars where they have like those machines inside the bar, like never really win, you know. Cool. So the next question, what are some practical managerial insights gained from the book? How would the book help leaders, managers, and marketers make better decisions or becoming more successful? I think the part that stood out to me the most to answer this question was the hospital one and the train situation where like it was burning down. Like communication is the key. Like just because you have a higher position over somebody like the doctors and the nurses doesn't mean you can just walk all over them and like not care what they're saying with those team meetings in the beginning. Like, you know, you have to, like, with a job that important, you have to be there and you have to like participate.
Yeah, and I think also that this can help make better decisions in the way that they can by analyzing what the actual root of an issue is, kind of like with the Starbucks problem, with the Starbucks, how
Oh yes.
when they like trace the problem so further back. Also with pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
was it not the it wasn't the Target one, but it was another one where teachers um, like the students weren't getting enough like education on
Oh
pregnancy and
yes,
stuff like that.
totally. The guy who had to like trace back why the babies weren't healthy when they were born, or there was so much fetal deaths. Is that what it's called? Yeah, and he traced it back to like girls
Education.
being educated in elementary. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
so like I feel like that's in that sense it can help like make better decisions because like the problem that you might think it is, it might not be. It might be something else further along the line, and it's so simple. Yeah, it like causes like all this like domino effect, chain reaction.
Yeah,
Um, such a bigger, broader issue.
totally. I totally agree with that. Cool. So our last question: did the book help you in any way or at a personal level? Did it help you better understand yourself, your surroundings, or the people around you? Yes, I definitely think so because I'm more aware of what like companies are taking from me, like information wise. I realize how important it is to communicate, and the consequences of what you do aren't always going to be like passed off. You know, even if you get a break, like things are still going to happen, and how you approach your habits is the way that you're going to have like a better life almost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you as well. The book helped me like understand, quote unquote, the power of habit. Like
Yeah.
its powerfulness, and like just like going forward, I feel more open and more accepting of like knowing the steps of what it takes to like form a habit or like get rid of a habit. Um, I'll be also able to distinguish like certain things that are habits
Mm-hmm.
in the people around me and take such like such these habits with like a grain of salt
Right.
because not every habit is a good one as these
True.
I thought it was, but like kind of with the sleepwalking, I never thought that was like a habit and it's a
Yeah.
bad habit.
I guess it is a habit, you know. True. Yeah, I totally understand. That's a great statement. Cool. Do you have anything more to add?
No.
Okay, same. Well, this concludes our last meeting.